Hey everyone, how is it going? This is Dr. Ashley Dash here, founder and CEO of Resume ATM. I am so excited to be with you guys today on our training session on how to career well. I am so excited to be here with you guys. I feel like this information is going to be amazing and valuable. And if you're watching the replay, it's going to be, I think it might even be better because you're going to have time to pause and stop and do the things and kind of come back, right? Those of you who are with me live, thanks for joining live. I always appreciate the live interaction, the Q&A sessions. So we'll go ahead and get the stuff out of the way. If you want access to join the career, excuse me, the Experience Career Freedom community, if you go down to bit.ly, that's bit.ly/Dr-Tips, that's Dr-DASH tips with an S, you can join our community to get access to our templates, our resources, the trainings that we provide, and get in the know before everyone else around all the information that's actually happening in the Dr. Dash community and, all the resume tools and exciting things that we share and all the goodies that we help people get and provide along their career journey. And today, we're going to try and do something a little different. And I'm going to see if it's possible because I want to see how I can do this. I want to be able to share my screen because I want to, I really think it's important that we're going to walk through something today. And I want to make sure that you guys can see it live on the screen and not just hear me talk about it verbally. Although that's great, I think it'd be really amazing if we could do that. So let's see here. I'm working on that right now, so give me a second. All right. I am sharing a new tab. It should be empty. All right. I think everyone can see my screen. I'm going to double check really quickly just on LinkedIn and Facebook to make sure you guys can see that before I go any further, because it's going to be really important today that you guys can actually see my screen, right? That you can actually see what's happening. So I'm going to just do a little check. Just bear with me 2 seconds because I've never done it this way before live. I want to make sure you can actually see this information. Okay. So just give me a second. Just forgive me. It says it's sharing, but I want to make sure it actually is. If I can't do it in the next 10 seconds, I'm just going to go with it. And if you guys can't see it, I'm sure you guys will let me know. Okay, yes, you can see my screen. Great. All right. So I'm going to psychologytoday.com, right? That is the goal. That's where we're heading today. So in today's session around how to career well, one of the things I often talk about and one of the things I often share with some of my clients who are open to the process is that sometimes you need to get external help. And one of the ways you can do that in terms of emotional health, and actually even spiritual health, is making sure that you are well mentally and emotionally. And one way you can do that is actually to find a therapist. And while I know this message is not for everyone, if you're not open to therapy, if that's not something you're interested in, it's completely okay. There's no judgment. But just for the record, that's what we're talking about today. So if you don't want to know about that, then feel free to log off and come back next time and talk about something else, right? But today, I want to speak specifically about how to find a therapist, particularly for people of color. All right. Many individuals in my family, in my friend group, even professionally, have never seen a therapist or don't know how to get that process started. Because everyone says, oh, you need therapy, you need therapy, you need therapy. That is wonderful. That is great. But for many people, they're like, okay, how do I find a therapist? How do you look for something that you never were interested in, never exposed to, right? So today on how to career well, I'm going to walk you guys through the process that I do to look for therapists for people that I know, for my clients, and even when I've done it for myself in the past. How do you actually find a therapist? Okay. If you can get one through a referral, that is great. If you know someone that knows someone to get you connected, that is great. But today we're going to make the assumption that we're starting from scratch. I need a therapist. I don't know anybody, and I'm starting with no information. So the first thing I want you guys to do, and this is specifically for my United States folks. I haven't tried it for other countries. I know other countries and other regions have different resources. So this is specifically to find a therapist within the United States. Okay. What we want to do is go to Google, like I just did, and go to psychologytoday.com. Okay. So that's the website you see on my screen right now. Psychologytoday.com. And when you get here, you're going to see find a therapist right here. You're going to see a zip code for therapists. It doesn't matter how you do that, right? But we want to find a therapist, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a city and state over here. But you can actually put in your zip code and put in your city for where you live to find a therapist. Now, a couple of things I always mention to everyone. If you're looking for a therapist near your home, you can feel free to put in your zip code, okay? But if your therapist works near your home, and there's nothing wrong with this, right? That means there's a higher possibility, is what I say, of you running into this person outside of your therapy sessions. Some people are comfortable with that. Some people are not. This is not a place of judgment. It doesn't matter, right? I just want you guys to know that typically wherever anyone works, right? That means typically that's where you operate. That's where maybe where your gym is. Maybe that's where you eat lunch at. And if you are in that same space, there's a possibility, not definite, but there's a possibility that you can run into your therapist. If that's not something that you want to do, then I recommend you put a zip code that's somewhere else that's not located near your home. Okay. That's the caveat I always tell everyone around putting in a zip code around therapy. If you don't care, if you would actually prefer your therapist is in your area and they kind of understand your environment, then put in your zip code, right? If you're, let's say, at work and you don't have a lot of, you had a longer commute, then put in, your zip code near your work, right? And maybe you can go to therapy on your lunch break. There's lots of ways we can do that, but I just want to be clear. When you put in your zip code, just be cognizant of what that could mean in terms of meeting someone outside of the therapeutic sessions. Okay. We're just going to select Washington, D.C., right? Because it's there. I didn't put a zip code, but I chose a location. So then we see there's therapists in Washington, D.C. Okay. So we went to psychologytoday.com. We typed in our zip code or chose a city for a therapist, and literally you just see a list of therapists that just pop up, right? I am not affiliated with psychologytoday.com. I don't have a referral link. I don't make any money. This is strictly information in the process that I use to help people find therapists who are open to it. Okay. Literally, I didn't type in anything. They're just listed here. To be honest, I'm not even sure how they're listed here. I'm not sure. It doesn't look alphabetical. There's just a list. Okay. If you care about the gender of your therapist, you can do all females, right? Or all males, right? You can do either or, and you can see the screen change, right? If you don't care, we're gonna look for both men and women, right? You have the option to do in person, which means you're physically gonna go to a location to see this person in person for your session, or online only. Maybe you don't want to leave your area. You have options for that as well. Okay. So man or woman, right? In person or online, these are all options that are available to you. Now, before I get into how I actually look at the different therapists, I want to take you over to all filters. Okay. And all filters will let you know there's so many ways that you can find a therapist. And we're going to walk through these. Okay. These are popular filters that people have typed in or chosen. So let's say you're looking for a therapist specifically for ADHD or anxiety, right? You can select that. If you're a person of color and you want a Black or African American therapist, you can select that. If you're looking for couples counseling or depression, suffering from depression or have trauma and PTSD, these are all options, right? In which you can filter and get really specific on the type of therapist and therapy that you need. Okay. As we saw earlier, we have therapists that are female or male, And if you identify or prefer someone that's non-binary who doesn't identify as either male or female, they also have that option for you. Okay. Then if you scroll down, you'll see how you like to see your therapist, right? In person and online, right? So we can really customize this experience to what we actually need. All right. Now, if you scroll down the page, they have certain specialties. Okay. In therapy, for those of you who are unaware, you can go to a therapist to talk about general information. However, if you are dealing with a specific topic, you can actually select a specialty. Okay. And there's lots of different specialties: eating disorders, anger management, gambling, sex therapy, self-harming, bipolar disorder, body positivity, intellectual disability. It doesn't matter. There's typically gonna be a specialty for that. Okay. If you're saying, hey, Ashley, this is a little bit too much, this is overwhelming, don't worry about this. You don't have to select this option. You can just choose a therapist, right? They're going to be qualified to talk to you and help you move forward. But if you have something specifically that's happening in your life that you want to identify, you can do that during a specialty, right? If someone has passed away, grief could be something that you experienced, right? If you can't sleep, they actually have sleep and insomnia, as a specialty. If you have stress in your life because of work, that is also something that we can talk about. All right. There's a lot of different options that we have available. If you have women's issues, that's an option. There's so many different things that we can specialize in. Okay. Now, as we scroll down the page, it's really important because people also have questions around, how do I pay? You can pay out of pocket. So that means whatever the price is for the therapy session is $50, $150, $200, whatever it is. You can just pay that cash, debit card, credit, however that person takes their payment. However, many people in corporate America have insurance, and many insurance companies give you so many sessions. And if you want to filter your therapist based on your insurance, you also have that option here. Excuse me. So we have Aetna, we have Blue Cross Blue Shield, we have AmeriHealth, we have Medicare, we have TRICARE, right? And there's a lot more insurance options available. If you need the VA, community care, this is here, okay? So if you want to find a therapist and you're not sure how to pay, check your benefits with your company, and they take insurance, and you can find a therapist that takes the type of insurance that your position, your job offers, okay? We're going to scroll down some more. There's types of therapy, right? Now, most people don't know about this. I typically don't select the types of therapy. These are the modalities of how actual therapists do their thing. I don't understand all these things, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I never select these things. However, many times therapists are looking for therapists. So they have a particular modality that they would like to go with, and you can select that here. So the different types of therapy are here. So if that is a person that you're looking for, who's looking for that, you can select the type of therapy. I think the closest I would get to this section would be, there are some people that I know that are specifically looking for Christian counseling, right? They have that option, but there's lots of different modalities here that you can take a look at. Typically for my folks, I don't walk through this process in terms of types of therapy, but I want you guys to know that's available to you. Okay. Then you choose your age. Certain therapists have a specialty in terms of who they talk with and who they speak with and who they help. So if there's someone who focuses on elder care, you can select that. If you're just adult, that's typically 18, to like 65, right? And then you have teen, preteen, and you have toddlers and kids if you need that support. All right. We also have ethnicity. So we talked about being a person of color, specifically Black or African American. They also have Hispanic and Latino, Asian, Native American, and Pacific Islander here on Psychology Today in terms of finding a therapist. If sexuality is something that's important to you, we have one bisexual, lesbian, in the LGBTQ plus community. You can select a therapist based on that. And then, of course, we have language, and there's a number of languages here. English, obviously, is going to be the default because we're in the United States, right? But we have American Sign Language, we have Arabic, we have Spanish, we have Punjabi, we have Italian, Japanese, Vietnamese. We have a number of therapists that have different languages that they speak, and they can speak to you in your native tongue, and it makes it easier to get the help and support that you need. So language is also an option here because we want to make sure that when you do your career well, that it makes the most sense for you and how you operate and live your life. Okay. And then for those folks who for those individuals where faith is vitally important to their therapy, or because maybe you've had an experience where the faith that you were born with or raised in wasn't something that was aligned to you, you can choose a therapist based on your faith or a non-religious therapist. So if you're saying, hey, Ashley, I'm not Christian, I don't want a Christian therapist, I still need help, you can select the secular and non-religious option, right? If you're Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, all of the options are here available to you if you're interested in therapy and faith or a lack of faith, right? I'm gonna say lack of faith, that's probably the wrong term. Using a therapist of faith or someone who doesn't integrate faith into their therapy is an option. It's right here, okay? And then the bottom, we have price, which is a very, very common question that I get. How much does therapy cost? It depends on your location, your region, and what you need. And you can look at price down here. So if you need, excuse me, a therapist less than $90, that's $1 sign, all the way up to over $130, right? And then there's some therapists that offer a sliding scale, okay? So when it comes to finding a therapist that you relate with, someone that can help you move forward in language and faith and gender and all the things, right? And who matches your insurance because you don't want to pay out of pocket, you have so many options available to you specifically on psychologytoday.com. Now, I'm not saying there's not a whole bunch of other websites that you can use to find a therapist. There are many amazing websites, highly regarded, personally vetted. You can use those. I'm just letting you know that when I was helping clients find therapists who were open to it, we needed a place to start. Psychology Today was a place that we started, and that's what I'm sharing. And it seems to be relatively easy for most people to use Psychology Today and get access to it. All right. So I want to walk through what it looks like to actually kind of scan a couple of therapists and kind of go through the process to create a short list. Typically, when I'm looking for therapists for my clients or helping clients find ones for themselves, I tell them to make like a list of no more than 3 or 4 therapists that they would be interested in based on, a particular subject matter, whether that's career coaching or something else that's happening in their life, right? Maybe stress or burnout or anxiety, whatever it is, let's choose a focus, right? And then let's try to find 3 or 4 people that are a match to that. Now, the reason I like Psychology Today is because it's very easy to kind of see all the information, right? So we see Emily. I have no idea who Emily is, right? But she says she's accepting new clients for in-person and virtual, right? You can email her. She has a telephone number. You see what she looks like. So let's just click on her page, right? And it just shows her location. And it gives information about who she is and kind of how she moves forward. She offers a free 15-minute consultation, right? So you can kind of have a conversation with her before you commit fully to therapy with this particular individual, right? And she describes kind of what she focuses on, who her clients are, and how much she charges, right? She has fees. She talks how she takes her information and her qualification, right? She's been in practice for 7 years. She has art therapy credentials. She has her education in terms of her qualifications down here, as well as her specialties and what she operates in. Okay. Her approaches, all the information that we saw before show up on her profile. So now you see where she works. Now you can contact her for a consultation. You know what she focuses on, the age ranges, how much she costs before you ever have to pick up the phone. All this is available on this one screen. If you want more information, you can go to her website. I'm going to click my website. Again, I don't know who this person is, but this is her website. And you can learn more information about who she is and what she does, right? And this is all from psychologytoday.com. All right. We're going to go back to the results and just see and just scroll down the page. So then we have Heidi. Okay. Heidi has this wonderful information, but she's saying right now, I am not accepting new clients. Right. So if you haven't already worked with Heidi, then right now she's not accepting new clients. So we don't have to go to her page to view her information because we know that we're not a fit for her. Right. And that we are not going to be moving forward in that space. All right. So let me move to the next one. And we see Angelica. So there's no note here, but it just says Angelica says she's online only, right? So then we go to Angelica's page. Again, we see her telephone number, we see the email, we have an introduction from her and what her process is. She focuses on, she believes in the power of empathy, right? And her goal is to understand experiences and her perspectives, right? And it shows the same thing. She accepts insurance. She costs $130, right? There's information down here. She's verified by Psychology Today. It talks about her specialties and modalities, right? She has an endorsement from another counselor. Her treatments and approaches, who her client focus is, and her primary location, right? This is not going to be as important in terms of her actual physical address because she does online only. Okay. So what I tell people to do, what I do for my clients is this particular process. We jump on Psychology Today, or I jump on Psychology Today for them based on a conversation that we've had that they approved, right? I'm not doing this just to make recommendations. If someone says they're open to therapy, don't know where to start. If someone says, hey, Ashley, I want you to help me find a therapist, this is the process we do that. I just don't do this for people to say, hey, you need a therapist and send them a list. That's not how this operates, okay? We have specific things that we are looking for. And I ask for preferences around, do you care the gender? If you do you want to meet in person or online? If you do, we make all of those selections. And then I just scroll through the page and I take a look at who's available. We haven't looked at a guy, right? So look at a guy, Christopher Hawes. You can meet him in person or online. He specializes in grief, right? So if someone's passed away, losing a loved one, Christopher, let's say grief was what we're targeting. Christopher in the DC area, Christopher could be a potential therapist, right? He offers teleconsulting via Zoom. And I didn't see this, I didn't share this earlier. Not every therapist has one, but some therapists actually have videos. I'm not going to play the video, but they have videos so you can see how this person sounds and talks and see if you can get a vibe from them from the video before you ever have a conversation with him, right? He also offers consultations. Again, his specialty seems to be grief and life transitions. He talks about his fees, how he takes a payment. He offers a sliding scale. He talks about his specialties and his expertise and who his client focus is as well. And what we do here is we just make a list, right, of 3 or 4 people that seem like a fit, seem like, you know what, this could be a good start. Right. And then what I recommend my clients do is you reach out to them, right? You send an email, you make a phone call, excuse me, you make a phone call and see if they are a match, right? See if you like their office. I can tell you from personal experience years ago, I had a therapist in particular that I loved. She was great. I loved her as a therapist. But in terms of getting on her calendar or her staff, her admin staff that I work with, I didn't enjoy as much. It just didn't seem to flow very easily, although I loved her as a therapist. And that makes an impact because you got to get on these people's calendar. You have to do follow-up. You have to, do certain things. So I think it's important that when you reach out to find a therapist and kind of begin the initial consultations, it should feel simple. It should feel easy. It shouldn't feel like a forceful thing. And if it does, I often tell people to maybe take a look at that, because the logistics and the customer experience around getting on the therapist calendar should be something that you're okay with doing, because typically you're going to see a therapist more than one time. I'm not saying you're signing up for a lifetime of therapy, but typically you're going to see this person for a couple of sessions. You want to make sure that you're not frustrated every time you go to have a session with this person. Okay. So this is the process of finding therapists. Okay. And you can do this, I'm going to say all day long, but there's pages and pages of information based on cities and zip codes. As you can, there's 9 pages of information here. But typically it's not, when you add more filters, you'll get more specific, specialized information from these therapists. Okay. So let me see if I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I believe I can. And I'm back. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I think it's important that in terms of us doing our career and careering well, right? How to career well is making sure that you're well intellectually and emotionally. And for individuals who are open to the process, this is going to be vital. Having the space and availability to have someone that you trust, that you can talk to, that's not related to you, that doesn't have any skin in the game, that's not biased, is it can be extremely valuable, and it can be extremely helpful. Now, the one thing I do want to mention to a couple folks that I've heard when we have conversations around therapy, for people who are interested or not interested in it, this is not a conversation to convert you. If this is not your thing, there's lots of other ways that you can seek help, and if therapy is something you're open to. If you've had a negative experience with therapy, I want to say I'm sorry. I apologize that you have that, but I don't want you to give up, especially if you're still open to the process. Thankfully, in my experiences, when I've had to find therapists or use therapists, it has been a relatively simple process. I haven't had to try out a lot of different people in terms of finding a therapist. But if you haven't found the person that you click with, if you haven't found a person that you feel like you can fully trust, that's okay. There's lots of other people, there's lots of other therapists that you can try, right? But my encouragement is that you don't use being uncomfortable talking about your issues, uncomfortable talking about things in therapy. I don't want you to use that uncomfortability as an excuse not to go to therapy or to try someone or kind of shop around, right? Once you find someone that you feel like kind of I don't say truly understands you, but someone that you feel understands you to a certain degree, that you feel like you could trust and share the information with, then I encourage you to try a couple of sessions with this person before you move on to something else. And if you don't know where to start, this video is the perfect place to start. You can go to psychologytoday.com and find a therapist. And you can find a therapist today. It does not have to take that long. I believe it took us maybe 20 or so minutes to kind of walk through the process and show you all the different features that are available. So if you are open to therapy, I recommend psychologytoday.com as a place to start. If you don't need Psychology Today, if you have other websites, feel free to use those websites. Feel free to move forward in a powerful way and make those selections so that you can have the space to reflect. I believe therapy is so beneficial. I believe the investment is worth it because I believe everyone deserves the safety and the space to talk about things that bother them, that hinder them, that frustrate them in a way that's non-judgmental, that is, I'm not going to even say loving, because I don't want to say it's loving, but just in a space of safety, right? Everyone deserves to feel safe. Everyone deserves to be heard, and everyone deserves the space to self-reflect. Okay. And some of the things that we do in terms of moving forward in our career, we talk about resumes, talk about cover letters, talk about all these wonderful things. We also talk about emotional health and how you can career well. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you're in this space and, hey, Ashley, I've been in therapy, I'm going to therapy, and I'm ready. I'm excited. I am done career counseling in therapy, and I'm ready to take the next step in my career. Then we invite you to join us at Resume ATM. If you're looking to customize your resume, have job matches, and have automated job applications, we can help you. Resume ATM is an online personalized job searching assistant where we help you find, apply for your dream job. So if you don't want to customize your resume, if you're tired of being on job boards and looking for the right position, if you are tired of 45-minute applications, then I invite you to go to resumeatm.com, become a member, and let us help you career well, where you don't have to worry about the emotional stress of applying for jobs or finding them or updating that resume every time. We can do that for you. All right. Until next time, guys, I'll see you guys for our next training session. It's been great. Hope you have a wonderful week. And I'm so excited to help you guys experience career freedom in today's session on how to career well. All right. Bye-bye for now. And I'll chat with you guys soon.